Hello everyone, my name is Zach. If you don't know me already, I'm the co-founder of English Getaway. We specialize in company English classes and English immersion programs. So I'm making this video today because we've been in quarantine already for 31 days. And firstly, I hope that you're all doing well and you're staying happy and healthy. I know for my family, we're enjoying some extra time together that we normally don't get, and trying to keep in contact with friends and family and trying to make the best of this situation. So during this process, we've been thinking a lot about our own students and the fact that our company classes have been temporarily suspended. And we really would love to support you guys in the best way possible. So we've decided that we're going to release 10 short lessons to help you to continue improving your English from home. All right? It'll be called 10 Short Essential Lessons to Improve Your English During Quarantine. So we'll be releasing them every Tuesday and Thursday from now until 5 weeks from now. And we really hope that it'll help you to review topics that you maybe have seen before, or maybe new ones that you can continue improving while you're at home. And we hope it's useful to you, and as well, if you know anybody else that's studying English from home that's not one of our students, feel free to share the link with them as well. So let's get right into it, okay, and begin with lesson 1. Okay, welcome to session 1. So this is the first in a series of 10 sessions that we'll be doing in order to review some general English topics. All right, so today we're going to focus on questions. Right. Specifically, we're going to look at how to form questions in the present simple. All right. However, what we're going to look at today is also applicable to every tense in the English language. All right, and I'll explain a little bit more about that towards the end of this presentation. So, to begin with, right, we have to kind of understand 4 topics in order to understand what we're speaking about here today. Okay, so I've made a chart here, as you can see, and we have these 4 sections: the verb to be, other verbs, open questions, and closed questions. All right, so why have we divided it this way? Firstly, because as most of you probably know already, the verb to be in English tends to follow its own rules, okay, especially in the present simple and the past simple. Right, the verb to be follows different rules from all other verbs. All right, so we've divided into 2 sections because of that reason. So now, up top, open questions and closed questions. So what is an open question and what is a closed question? If we take a look at this example here, what is your name? Right? This is an example, a perfect example of an open question, because an open question is any question that could have millions of possible answers. All right? Other examples: what's your favorite food? Where do you live? What time do you go to work? Okay, there are millions of examples that you could use. All right, so what's the difference between an open and a closed question? Right? If an open question is a question that has millions of possible answers, then a closed question is a question that's limited to just 2 answers. All right? Essentially, yes or no. So, is your name John? Yes, it is. Or, no, it isn't. Do you like pizza? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Are you hungry? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. All right, so closed questions are questions that have essentially 2 possible answers. So let's take a look at the structure behind each of these different types of questions, okay? And take a look at how to change from an open to a closed question, or from a question with the verb to be, or to other questions, okay, with other verbs. So essentially, if we take a look at this first example, what is your name? Right? We can divide this, we can break this down into a specific structure. So we begin with a question word, right? A question word being who, what, where, when, why, how much, how many, etc. And then it's followed by an auxiliary verb, all right? In this case, it's the verb to be, all right? Which can be sometimes an auxiliary verb, other times a main verb, okay? But the verb to be is special in that sense, right? And then a subject, your name. So what is your name? Right? A simple structure. question word, auxiliary, subject. So, if we want to take this and we want to make it into a closed question, what do we have to do? Well, let's take a look over here. Is your name John? All right, here, as you can see, we begin with an auxiliary verb, and then we add a subject. All right, so essentially what we're doing here is we're eliminating this question word, and we have is your name, auxiliary and subject, auxiliary and subject. Okay, so essentially it's the same thing, right? So what we do in order to transition between an open question and a closed question is simply eliminate the question word. All right. Oftentimes as well, all right, we don't always have to include this, but we often include an object, right? Essentially, by including an object, what we're doing is we're closing down, or limiting the possibilities for an answer, all right, which is essentially closing the question. So it makes the question more specific. So that's the reason why we often add an object at the end of closed questions. So, is your name John? So now we can see here that essentially to change between an open and a closed question, we have to eliminate this question word. But what do we have to do in order to change from a question with the verb to be to other verbs? Okay, a question with any other verb. Let's take a look. So here, we can take a look at this example. Where do you live? Right? We begin with a question word, just like here above, auxiliary verb, in this case, do. All right? Because all verbs that are not the verb to be use the auxiliary verb do in English, okay, for questions and negative sentences. Subject, you, and here, a main verb. Since we're speaking about the present simple, this main verb is in the form of an infinitive, right, as you can see right there. So essentially, what's the difference between the verb to be and other verbs? Well, essentially this main verb, this infinitive that we add in the present simple. In other tenses, it'll still be the main verb, but it'll be a different form. Okay, so instead of an infinitive, it'll be something different, which we'll take a look at another example of a non-present tense question in just a few minutes. So essentially, by eliminating this, right, we have the same thing as we have up here. All right, so the difference between the verb to be and other verbs is this main verb, this infinitive. So now we've seen how to transition between open and closed and the verb to be and other verbs. So I imagine you already understand now how to form this, but let's just take a quick look. So to transition between other verbs in an open question and other verbs in a closed question, right? Just like we did up here, we can eliminate this question word, right? We have auxiliary subject main verb. Do you live? Auxiliary subject main verb. Do you live? All right? So essentially we have the same thing. Do you live in Madrid? Right? We add this object at the end of the sentence in order to close down the possibilities, limit the possibilities, and help to create this closed question. All right? So the difference between here, all right, main verb, the difference between here, main verb. The difference between open and closed, question word, open and closed, question word. So I hope this helps to kind of understand questions in the English language, and there are 4 relatively simple structures that if we can understand them and we can begin to use them with more fluency, you'll see that it's relatively easy. All right. So like I said at the beginning, we can take these structures and we can apply them to any verb tense in the English language. So let's take a look at one example. Right? Here we have the present perfect. Now, with a lot of verb tenses that are not the present simple and the past simple, essentially we're eliminating this entire section of the chart. All right, we have enough with just these two sections, because in the perfect tenses, the continuous tenses, for example, we have the same structure for every verb, including the verb to be. There's no difference between the verb to be and others. All right, in this example, we have the present perfect. All right, where have you been? So we have the question word, auxiliary, subject, and main verb. All right, in this case, it's in the past participle, right? Because we're talking about the present perfect. So in this example, where have you been? We have an open question, all right? And if you compare it to this, you'll see that the structure is exactly the same. Question word, auxiliary, subject, main verb. All right, the only thing that changes is the form of this main verb. Here we have the past participle, and here we have the infinitive. All right, if we take a look at a closed question in the present perfect, we'll see the same. Have you been to China? All right, auxiliary verb, subject, main verb. Just like we have here. All right, the only difference is here we have the infinitive, since we're talking about the present simple, and here we have the past participle, since we're speaking about the present perfect. So I hope this has helped to clarify questions or basic question grammar. So that's it for session 1. Okay, for session 2, we're going to delve a little deeper into this topic, and we're going to get into question tags. That's it for today. I hope you are all doing well and you're happy and healthy in quarantine, and I hope to get back to regular classes as soon as possible. But for now, I hope this helps, and I hope to see you in the next section. Okay, so the next session will be on Thursday. So take care and be healthy.